Welcome back to Multiversal Studios. In this video we'll be looking at the character Chazz Princeton and why he wasn't rival worthy. But first we have to answer the question, what is rival worthy? Well, a rival worthy character is a person who is competing for the same goal or objective as the protagonist and is able to do so on an equal footing. And in this video I'll be systematically breaking down why I think Chazz isn't a worthy rival. But before we do that, let's take a second to look at the very best example of the word rival in Yugioh, which is Seto Kaiba. Seto's rivalry with Yugi showcases how a rivalry can be mutually beneficial to both parties. Seto at every opportunity is searching for ways to counter Yugi at every turn, whereas Yugi is finding new and innovative methods to overcome the obstacles placed in his path. These interactions lead to intense competitive duels where both parties are pushed to the very edge, and in the end leave becoming a stronger duelist for it, whether they're strong mentally or spiritually. Now it's hard to say whether they initially intended to have a similar dynamic with Chazz and Jaden, as Chazz in episode 1 took an instant disliking to Jaden due to his cocky attitude, which was only matched by Jaden's impressive dueling abilities. However, it became pretty apparent from episode 2 that the writers intended Chazz to take a different route. Chazz in episode 2 was undermined as any potential rival for Jaden due to the unofficial duel that takes place between the two. Now the duel seemed very back and forth at first glance, but as soon as we get to the climax of the duel, it is stopped by Alexis. Chazz walks away seemingly satisfied that he was going to win, but it is later revealed that Jaden actually had the trump card, which was Monster Reborn. This cemented Chazz as another arrogant Obelisk Blue student who didn't really pose a threat to Jaden. Chazz wasn't even privy to the fact that he would have lost the duel, but the main characters at the time, Jaden, Alexis, Cyrus, as well as the viewers watching from home, were. Now this isn't all bad, as this gives Chazz an opportunity to be on a separate podium, narrowly escaping the large rival shadow cast by the characters like Seto Kaiba and Jack Atlas. Chazz early on as a character is someone who is always trying to prove himself, whether that's to his family, to his school, or even to Alexis. In episode 1, we see Jaden do exactly what Chazz had always dreamt about, which was garnishing everyone's attention in a spectacular manner. Jaden did this by defeating a doctor in dueling and one of the professors at the academy, Dr. Crowler. This was even more impressive when we discovered he was using his own deck, which contained the legendary ancient gear golem. Now whether Chazz liked it or not, this earned the respect and attention of all the other students who were spectating, including characters like Zane and Alexis. Chazz, however, reacted in an act of jealousy and dismissed it as lucky.
It must be dumb luck. No way Crowler could lose to some flunky.
This I believe stems from Chazz's complicated backstory. Chazz probably always got his own way growing up, being sent to the greatest dueling prep schools from which he developed his spoiled rich kid attitude. However, I don't believe it was that simple. Due to his brothers being the tycoons in the worlds of politics and finance, they didn't really have much time for him growing up, and based on the friends he accompanied in season 1, they seem more like cheerleaders or yes men, only there for Chazz's reputation and money. This is then confirmed when in the later seasons when he loses everything, we never see these characters ever again. Chazz probably never had to struggle a day in his life, and as soon as he joined the Duel Academy, he was sent straight to the top, which was the Obelisk Blue Dome. So now he was in a position where he had to maintain a position he had gained but not technically earned. He had an incredible weight on his shoulders, which was the Princeton reputation. His success at Duelist Academy was directly linked to his family name, as he was groomed to become the head of the dueling world from an early age. I believe this is one of the key reasons the audience fell in love with Chazz. He started off as a classic villain, however once it was made apparent that he didn't actually have it as easy as we thought, and he was actually a victim of circumstance, it was a game changer in the eyes of the viewers as we understood and rationalized Chazz's behavior, and we even went as far as empathizing with what he had to go through. As I stated earlier, an essential element for a successful rivalry is when both parties are as good as each other, whereas with Chazz, you could argue that Jaden is Chazz's rival. However, Jaden doesn't see it that way at all. Chazz wants to be like Jaden. Jaden is the golden child in the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and is able to garnish the respect and attention Chazz craves, and believes he needs to win the approval of his brothers. Now this is later confirmed in episode 4, where Jaden and Chazz face off in an official duel. Now they had to add a little twist to this duel, as the winner between Chazz and Jaden has already been confirmed in episode 2, so the hype for the duel was kinda dead. So Dr. Crowler gives Chazz all the rare cards he bought in order to boost Chazz's deck prior to the duel. Now the duel was very close, however as expected Jaden won, and he did so with one rare card he received comparatively to the huge pile of cards Chazz received. Now what bothers me about this is, Chazz after 4 episodes takes 2 losses from Jaden. The second defeat was public, and it was also when he had an upgraded deck. This must have been a humiliating defeat for Chazz, and probably a very low point for him as a character. However, it wasn't the lowest point for Chazz. Dr. Crowler forced Chazz to duel Bastion, a raw yellow student, and if he lost he would would have to switch dorms with Bastion. Now if you factor in Chazz's background and the Princeton family name, you can see why this would be so stressful for Chazz. So in advance of dueling Bastion, not believing in himself as a duelist, Chazz steals Bastion's deck and throws it into the ocean in order to seek a disqualification from Bastion. However, Bastion simply pulled out another deck from his spare 6 decks and defeated Chazz. So at this point Chazz was a pathetic, cheating loser who not only lost to a raw yellow duelist, but also lost to a Slifer slacker. So at this point, any hope for Chazz to salvage any kind of rivalry towards Jaden would just flush down the toilet. Now one of the major reasons Chazz was never rival worthy was due to the proper introduction of Zane Truesdale in episode 8. This is who I believe is Jaden's true rival. Now the reason I say true rival is due to the outcome of the duel between Zane and Jaden. It was Jaden's first loss of the series. Now it wasn't necessarily the loss that was important, it was the growth element. Jaden hit a wall which until then he was running carefree, defeating every duelist in his path. This is a critical moment for Jaden's growth. However, it was also a learning curve for Zane, as Jaden's aim was trying to convince him that Cyrus did deserve to be a duelist at the academy. So both Zane and Jaden left the duel with room to grow as a person or as a duelist. I am not saying Chazz doesn't have rival-worthy characteristics. However, with Jaden and Chazz, it seems very one-sided. It seems like Chazz is the only one improving after every loss, and goes away and comes back stronger each time, whereas Jaden's growth is not connected to Chazz in any shape or form. Now Chazz on his North Academy arc went through a lot of changes. He showed compassion. He dueled exceptionally with his own merit with no tricks. He improved not only as a person but as a duelist. It's actually quite ironic. Chazz early on in his dueling career associated big strong monsters as the key to being a strong duelist. However, was defeated by what has always been represented as the weakest monster, Akaribo. However, after his time at North Academy, Chazz began to understand Jaden's point of view and that just because the monsters are weak, it has no bearing on his ability to win a duel, which is actually when he started relying on the Ojamas, which actually became Chazz's main source of strength. This is the critical moment in Chazz's life where he subconsciously mirrors Jaden's philosophy and trusts in himself and his deck, and became a formidable duelist, becoming the top student in North Academy in a short amount of time. This in my opinion should have been the moment for Chazz where he takes his spot as Jaden's rival. He had his little villain arc, similar to how every villain in the anime is evil at first, but then they come around later, and it would have been the perfect time to have a friendly rival relationship with Jaden. And this would have also been the perfect time for Chazz to come back and show the world and Jaden and himself who he was and what he was made of. I think the outcome of this duel should have been a draw. This would have shown how much Chazz had grown as a duelist in his absence, as well as shown Jaden that Chazz was a contender and he should no longer be looked down upon, like a true rival to the protagonist. And regarding the rest of the storyline, with his brothers who were banking on Chazz to win the duel in order to boost the popularity of the Princeton name, well, this would have resulted in the same way. Chazz's draw against Jaden wouldn't have satisfied Slade and Jagger, and he still would have been berated in front of the whole school. However, after Chazz's amazing performance, the whole school would have rooted for him, like they did anyway, so the storyline would have gone the same. Chazz would have gained notoriety from drawing with Jaden, as well as the respect from the audience. The reason I feel so strongly about this is because this was the ultimate duel between Chazz and Jaden, and because of the result, it has solidified Chazz being inferior forever. This was Chazz at his best, and he stood no chance against Jaden fair and square, and the consequence of this was that Chazz took the second place spot and he was stuck there. By that I mean, he lost his fire. He no longer desired to duel Jaden. Jaden had climbed too high for Chazz, and he had to settle for what was left, which wasn't much. Chazz became a relic, and his storyline diverted into many different tangents, some which were comedic relief or just a simp for Alexis. His character became a joke in my opinion, and he lost his relevance. However, I can see why he became a fan favourite, with his catchphrases and his comedic retorts. However, what was the price? It only cost him the title shot to be a worthy rival to Jaden. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, but if you disagreed with me, let me know why, down in the comments below.